Hey friends, so welcome back to DBC Inc. Live. We are streaming from YouTube and also on Facebook, and we're super excited to have amazing guests on the show tonight. So as you are joining in, keep in mind, and I'll let them introduce themselves, although most of you already know them. But as you're joining in, please do tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do. Introduce yourself, maybe share something good that happened today. Hey, Tisha. And yeah, let's get started. And so every single comment over in the comment section will be entered to win a free Lead Like a Pirate book, because we have the Lead Like a Pirate authors right here with us today. Shelley Burgess Beth Houf, thank you so much for being on the show with us. Shelley, why don't you go first? I know everyone knows who you are, but share some wisdom with us.
Anyway, just introduce myself here.
Yeah.
So, hey everybody, I am Shelly Burgess. I am an educator of over 22 years. I have had the pleasure of serving as a teacher, as a resource teacher, as a director of student achievement, as a principal, as an assistant superintendent. So lots of roles in my time. I'm blessed to be partnering with Beth Houf, amazing principal and phenomenal friend, in the writing of Lead Like a Pirate. And so I'm super happy to be here. Tara, thanks so much for having us.
Oh my goodness, it's such a treat. Everybody's been pretty pumped up about it. So I'm excited to see everybody sharing there. Yes, we got some girl power in the house. That's exactly right.
Hey, Tisha, Tracy, Dave, hello. Kristen, hi.
All
Dave,
right, Beth,
this sounds like a person I should know. I'm glad he's coming in tonight.
I do know that Dave Burgess guy over
there. Just a little. All right, friends. Well, let's have Beth introduce herself. I know most of us know who she is, but tell us about what you do and a little bit about maybe something good that happened today for you.
Definitely. I'm Beth Houf. I'm the other half of Lead Like a Pirate. I'm the very proud principal of Fulton Middle School in Fulton, Missouri, mom of 2 boys that keep me hopping. And we are in school. So we have pretty much been in school the whole time. And so a good thing for me, as much as this year has been such a challenge, I think for all of us, probably the most challenging ever. It was great to see kids. I mean, I love the chance to see kids, and I love middle schoolers. I think that sometimes they get a bad rap. And I know, Tara, you know my babies because you've been there and met them, and middle schoolers are really amazing. And so I think, you know, one tangible thing that I can share is we have a special program called JAG, and it's Jobs for America's Graduates. And it's a whole idea of finding kids that have barriers. They really don't use the word at risk, which I love that, because it's kids that have barriers in their life, and teaching them skills and leadership, and they become leaders so that they can then in turn leave high school ready to go and do whatever it is they want to do. And so today they're working on their money maker that they do is make shirts. And so they made Miss Hogan a shirt yesterday, and then they knew that they had to up their game and make me one today. So I have a new black and gold bling shirt to wear tomorrow that looks a lot like the real emblem on your book. So it's black.
Yes. You texted me that today, and I was like, that is sweet. I won't find it.
Yeah, you know, it's awesome because it's an 8th grade boy that made it too. And so like when the kids do stuff like that for you, you just, you know, it was wonderful. So that was probably one of the big highlights for my day for sure.
Yes. Kid made anything is awesome. My favorite. I was telling a friend the other day, I got a big, huge stack of letters from a little class in Oregon that wrote them after I read Cannonball Inn. I was like, all of these are going into my smile file. And he's like, what is that? I'm like, oh, it's this accordion envelope that I have that I put all the letters from kids. And anytime I'm feeling super down on myself, I just go pick that up and read it. Because
I love that you have a smile file, Tara. It does not surprise me. I love that you have a smile file.
I do. I won't tell you how often I use it, but it's embarrassing.
I have a portfolio of awesome. That's what we have at our school. So that's one thing every time a new teacher comes in is they get a portfolio of awesome for the exact same reason, because wow, we need to, you know, go back to that on those hard days, especially hard days. So.
I have a Shelley personal file. It's not named as well.
You can always change the name or just keep it. That's great. I think some people call it a feel-good folder too, like whatever. Yeah. I have an email one too, where I just drop some good emails in there sometimes. So we're super duper excited to have you two on the show. I know that each one of these professional development, we call it free PD in your PJs on Thursday night, just we just join here for about 30 minutes and have the authors inspire us in the anywhere learning setting, something that's you've been dealing with, talking about, working on, any of those things that can just uplift us in these times where we really need some uplifting. So I thought you ladies could just share something. Remember all the comments, by the way, guys, you guys are killing it over there. I'm trying to keep up, but all the comments are entered to win a free Lead Like a Pirate book, which we'll announce tomorrow at 8 a.m. So you can watch this on the playback if you're putting your kiddos to bed. We are a family-centered company, and we like to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to watch. And so you can comment on the playback, and those are also entered to win the free book. So without further ado, if you ladies just want to share anything with us that you think will uplift our crowd tonight. We have a good little crowd in here, and they look pumped up to have you here. So we'll start with Beth this time if you want to, and then we'll move over to Shelly.
Sure. It is so great. Hello to everyone. It's awesome. It fills my heart to see all of us kind of in the same place, because I've missed everyone. Not being at conferences has really been tough. Not giving hugs, not being, I'm very much like the energy in the room, really what gets me going. So I think something to share specifically, I think, is to start with self. Like, I think that it's really hard for us to serve anyone else if we don't take care of ourselves. And so for me, I've really tried to do that. And I've tried to find, I'm going to be like, a couple of the real things that I do is I don't work all weekend long anymore. I used to do that. And it not only did it wear me out, it made me not like the work. And the work is my life. Like, so whenever I would work all weekend long and never take time to kind of rejuvenate, then I would not like to go to work on Monday. And that's not me. So I think for me, it's really finding space and creating boundaries. I think the number one thing we have to do this year, and especially like as we're dealing with COVID, is set boundaries, because if not, we could work all the time with being in such a virtual world. So I think that's one huge thing. The other thing that I've done to help set boundaries for myself is I don't email after 5 o'clock. I don't email my staff. And I know, Tara, I think we had a TLAP that we were on recently, and we were sharing that. And like, I don't, unless a staff member emails me and I email them back, but then I stop checking email at 8, because usually as a school principal, nothing great comes after 8. So I stop, and that helps me be able to unplug and to be able to lay down, put my head on my pillow and fall asleep a little bit better. So it's hard to create a culture of wellness in your building if you don't have wellness and you don't model wellness as a principal. I would love to be good at yoga and some of the other things I see people do, but for me, it's just little things like that help me be more productive and well for others.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Go ahead. No, I was going to piggyback a little bit off of what Beth said and the idea. And I mean, Beth is such a great model of really taking care of herself, taking care of her own wellness. And my piggyback on that is not only do you model that for your staff, but you encourage that for your staff, so letting them know it is okay to shut down. It is okay. As you were saying, I mean, just like principals, teachers are working round the clock. If they don't have boundaries, they're doing 24 hours a day too. And so not just doing it for yourself, but making sure that you are sharing with your staff. This is what I expect and hope for you too. I don't expect you to email me back at 5:30. I don't expect for you to be making parent phone calls at 8 p.m. at night. I don't expect, you need to also have time to shut down, be with your family, just take care of yourself. And so I think that giving that grace to yourself, but also making sure that your staff is very aware that you're giving that same grace to them. So I think that's a really important piece as well.
One thing like wellness challenges. I know for me, we did a whole weekend an email purge. So the weekend challenge was to not check your email all weekend and celebrate that. What we celebrate, right, is what we become. And so if we celebrate overworking or celebrate the burden of busy, then that's what people think they have to be. I can say, oh, family first, take time for you. But then when I'm at work at 6 a.m. and still emailing at 10 p.m., that's not what it says. So I think that's one thing I've had to shift. For those of you that know me, that was not my definitely not my norm.
That was not the easy shift for you. That was not.
Easy. But I also have learned too, there's sometimes I work and I don't necessarily I'll type the email, but schedule it. So that way I have it done, but yet it's scheduled and I don't have to worry about it. So.
I know I was very fortunate early on in my career, and not that I've always spent my career being super balanced. But I was very, very fortunate early on in my career to have an assistant superintendent that I worked with who, and I was, I don't know how many people know this, but I was pregnant with my second child when I took my first principal job. And so I had an assistant superintendent who really was kind of looking out for me. And she would call me, you know, she would make a phone call to me at 4:30 or 5 every day with a message of, it's okay to go home. It is okay to go home. You can shut down, and the work is never done, right? The work of a school leader, the work of a district office leader, the work of a teacher is never done. And so her calling me and saying, it's time to shut down. It's time to go take care of your body, go take care. We had a 2.5-year-old at the time, you know, go take care of your baby and reprioritize tomorrow. And I love that concept of there's a time to just say work is done, and tomorrow we reprioritize. So if there's something we didn't get done, does that go to the top of the list tomorrow? You know, what shifts and changes, but being really attentive to that idea that you're never going to get it all done in one day. And so how do you set, like Beth was saying, how do you set boundaries for yourself and then redo your priorities for the next day? And I've lived with that advice from her my entire career in administration, and it's been incredibly helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. So I was listening to an interview with Brene Brown the other day on the Kelly Clarkson show. She was talking about boundaries, and she said, you know, they did this. She's been studying vulnerability forever, 20 years. And one of the things she said is, as they were looking to see what was making the people most compassionate. Mm-hmm. And she kind of assumed that, she's like, at first, I thought it would be like their faith. I thought the people with the most, like that express their faith were probably going to be the most compassionate. But what they found through their studies is it was the people that were the most the ones that set boundaries. And she went on to explain that it was pretty incredible, because she talked about when we set boundaries for ourselves, we are actually showing ourselves that we love ourselves. Mm-hmm. And because you can't fully love others or care about others until you really embrace caring about yourself. That's what they found through their study. And I thought that was just so incredible. You know, we have to, I think as educators, we'll often just give everything because we think we're doing what's best for the people that we serve. But the truth is, we're not the most compassionate person when we do that, because we're not loving self and then loving out. We are putting ourselves on the back burner. And of course, you know, Beth and Shelly, you can't serve like that for long.
Well, I think one of the things that you're saying, Tara, and I think we've probably all experienced this. I mean, not just the three of us having the conversation, but everyone who is contributing in the comments. Thank you all for being here. Is that, you know, when you really sit back and reflect, you know, and I think about myself, I am a better mother. I am a better wife. I am a better educator. I am a better business person if I am in a little bit more of balance. If one of those consumes all my time for a whole long period of time, and you're constantly burdened with the busy of work, you're not as good at work, you're not as good at being a parent, you're not as good at being a contributing member of your family. And so that taking that time to reflect on what really makes you, like you were saying, the most compassionate, the best in every role, requires that you have the boundaries that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Completely. And I think it's a good thing, for us to model to our own children. My kids need to see that. My kids need to see. For too many years, I think sometimes they just always saw mom as a principal first, and I think that's not, that's not healthy for them. I want them to, to grow and see what it should be. And I think this year has been really tough, though, because I know for me as a school leader, the biggest struggle has been I am not the owner of my time. You get the day going. My assistant principal today, my dear friend Erica, said, hey, we have another positive. And I thought positive. I'm like, oh, somebody said something nice about us. I had just kind of we had been kind of strolling along, and I was like, oh no, we have to contact trace again. And just for those of you that are going through this right now too, I mean, it's devastating, because you're getting ready to change the lives of whoever you have to call. You're of course worried about whichever kid is sick. And then however much of your day is now spent doing that. And, for us, we try really hard. And I think this is something that is the whole lead lab philosophy. We don't just buzz in the room and say, hey, get all your things, you're going home, because the kids know, right? So we take time to go get the kiddos, we walk them down, we explain what's going on, we help dry the tears, because the kids want to be at school, which, oh my gosh, how awesome is that? Mm-hmm. So I think because of this year in particular, it's hard to do the things that we know have high impacts and that we know that we love to do, our why, our, the passion, the P in pirate. It's hard to do that whenever, because no one, I really don't think I could find a principal that said, yes, I want to sit behind a computer and be that principal. Mm-hmm. So I think those are some of the things that we've got to find that wellness and boundary just to help us through this tough year for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt this time. I'm seeing a lot of comments over in the comment section too. Many people just saying, I need to get it together. Like, I need to set boundaries. I still, no matter how hard and no matter how many people tell me this, I still am overworking myself. And like Beth said, and Shelly alluded to as well, it's easy to do when you're at your computer because you're right here in your house. So how do you separate work and home? But I'm curious if, I know we have Rest Like a Pirate section of Lead Like a Pirate. I love that section. I needed that section a lot. I still do. But I'm wondering if you guys have some tips, some tricks, some things that you've been doing that's helping you to set those boundaries and remind yourself that, self-love is important and you're better for everyone else when you do that. So yeah, I would love to hear what you guys have here as far as some strategies things you're doing.
Yeah, I think I'll start, Beth, and I mean, you'll have a bazillion things to share, but I think one of the things that's most important is you are in the process of trying to set boundaries is the communication that you do with folks, right? If you've always made yourself available 24 hours a day and you've always made yourself available, text me, I'll text you right back. Email me, even if it's at 9:00 at night, I'm going to email you back. Even, you want to talk to me at, whatever that might be, at 6 a.m, I'm going to pick up the phone and talk to you. So if you're kind of in that situation, I think one of the things that's really important is the communication, and you don't have to communicate it in a way that's, I'm setting boundaries because I need, more time for me. You don't, but just communicating with people. Here's the time, here's the time on my schedule. I'm going to have, whether you call them office hours or whether you call them, I don't know, you think of it, but just being really clear with people, like Beth was saying, I'm not going to email you after 5. I'm going to respond, up until 8 o'clock. But I think the communication aspect of that, so people know I'm available. I will respond to you within 24 hours. I will try. So what are the commitments that you can make where people still feel that their message to you or what they need is important, and that you will get back to them, respond to them, but you're communicating, here's the time frame within which I'm going to do that, I think is really critical. So knowing what that is, getting that communication out, and just being really clear and upfront, what you have to say, what you need from me is super important. Here are the parameters around which I'm going to get back to you, work with you, respond to you, I think is a huge first step.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. And I think, something that Shelly taught me that I struggled, because so often people will say, hey, do you have a minute? And that's a trigger for me, because you can see the steam coming off, because none of us are sitting around going, man, I've got all these minutes. What should I do? And so I've learned to say, when I really don't, no, I don't right now, but I will here. And then Shelly taught me that gift of the words for that, because it really helped me. I was breaking commitments at times because I felt like I needed to be my open door policy 24/7. That's not real. That's not realistic. I need to be in classrooms. I need to be other places. And when it's an emergency, I think that's the piece, that communication, like making sure that you really define, for me on the weekends, it's, I'm not going to always check my email because I'm trying to, we've decided, Erica and I, we take turns being on call, because we have we have Go Guardian and Bark for our kids. And so they send us email alerts if there's something going on. So we try to make sure that one of us is on call, but we have to model that. But we say, if there's something going on, please text us. We'll help you. So giving that boundary, if it's an emergency, make sure that you do that. And I think that's helped a lot. I think for me too, just being more like walking around, and I know that I get the opportunity to do that, but when I wasn't in seat, and I think Allison Apsey was one of the ones that helped me with the Google form checking in. She's got so many restorative practices that she does with staff. And I was like, I can't believe I waited until a pandemic to do this. You know, I needed to be checking in on staff like I expect them to do with kids. Why wasn't I doing that? So I think the more you do that, the more you know your staff, the more they let you know what they need to, and it's easier to set those boundaries. I think the other thing, and I know that I would have been offended by this probably 5 years ago, is like I had to get over myself. I don't need to be that busy. I don't need it. It will get done. I don't need to. It should not be the norm that I get up every Saturday and Sunday and immediately start with work. That shouldn't be the norm. I have to replace that with other things. When I was kind of transitioning back to like Beth with Beth, calm Beth, which I feel like I am a little bit more now. Like, I had to stop. I had to replace it with a calm behavior, you know, instead of getting up and doing this, like I did something else instead. And I think that was kind of the thing, is I kind of, I just had to quit taking myself so seriously and realize I don't need to do that. And then I was more productive. I could actually do more with less time because of those boundaries. I wasn't piddling around all that time. So.
So true. And I think too, a lot of times it's almost like the world kind of puts this Medal of Honor status on being super busy. Yeah. And it's really not a Medal of Honor. Like
busy's not a badge. Busy's not the badge. Busy isn't the medal. That's not what it is. I think you're exactly right, Tara.
And it's hurt our profession. It's really hurt. I'm going to be honest. Like I like to tweet. Most of you that follow me on social media, I really like to share the positive. I feel like it's one of our things that we should do as educators, is show the great things happening and to model to our kids. And I like to advocate and things like that. But I tweeted something last week as we were coming back from break that said, we should normalize rest every day, not just on weekends and holidays. And I don't count tweet, like I don't really pay attention to that, but that thing went nuts. And it had like over 3,000 people corresponding with it. I'm like, that says something. When people are that fired up because of a tweet that says we should normalize daily rest, we need to really reprioritize and refocus and take care of ourselves for sure. So, but yeah, I think Shelly and I, that was one thing in the book when we look at the chapter on immersion that we really talk about, that busy isn't a badge, and I feel like it really has hurt and almost pit teachers against teachers. In the building, like, the one that's there for 23 hours is a better teacher than the one that works 10, but that's really effective. So I would definitely like to continue that.
Yeah. So I'm curious, I know that both of you have set some boundaries in helping to prioritize your health and wellness. I would love for you to share some of the things that you're doing there too, for all of our listeners, because I'm passionate about this topic too. And I feel like it's one of those boundaries, like Brene Brown was talking about, that helps me to be my best self for other people. And so, Shelly, we'll start with you and your health and wellness journey.
Sure. So for me, and this is a newer journey for me. I mean, anyone who knows me about that, I mean, I've been in, I go through bouts of, oh my gosh, I need to get healthier. I need to eat better. I need to, exercise more. I mean, I think a lot of people, that's a cycle for people, but, I turned 50 in March. So, that was, for whatever reason, that has been a thing in my head of, kind of what's this second century, of my life going to be like, and prioritizing my health and fitness has become really, really important to me. And so, I kind of have this goal that I'm going to be fabulously fit at 50. And so I walk, I do some form of exercise just about every day. I regroup by walking. I need my walking time, sometimes with a friend, sometimes with Dave, sometimes just on my own, but I walk a minimum 3 miles a day, up to 7 or 8 miles a day. I've joined hiking groups to make the walking more challenging. I've just found tennis again, which took me a while. I haven't picked up a tennis racket in years. And then, I've started to work with a trainer to help build strength. And and what I've learned and in watching my eating, a little bit more, I've lost 60 pounds since May. And just am healthier, fitter, and I'm better at everything that I do because I have finally made my health and fitness and wellness a priority. And it kind of goes to what we were talking about before is you know, when you're working those 23 hours a day, all those things that you do for yourself, you sacrifice. And I'm better in every role that I have because I feel healthier. I feel, you know, it brings more confidence. It brings, you know, more strength, more confidence, all those kinds of things. And so I think that piece has been really eye-opening to me, and it goes right with what we're talking about, that you've got to do those things for yourself and they make you better in your other roles. And so that's been a key thing for me on this, you know, in this sort of wellness space.
Yeah, you're killing it too. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
So proud of you. I get so excited every team meeting on Friday. You can ask me. You're so excited. Because I just know how it makes you feel. It just makes you feel better. And like Renee said in that interview, when you create that space, or even what Beth said earlier, you're actually creating the space for more productivity because you're relieving yourself of things that's cluttering everything up. I mean, if you're like me, I will be scrolling down Twitter. Yeah, I'm working till the middle of the night, but how much time did I get distracted doing something that I didn't need to be doing? But if I could just do the thing I need to do and then focus on the task at hand and then set some boundaries, just better all around. So Beth, tell us a little bit about your fitness journey. I know that you've been eating healthy and doing all kinds of wonderful things. So tell us.
Well, kind of, but I have to shout out to Shelly because every time she tells that story, it just like of her journey, it's so inspiring. It gives me chills and like makes me tear up because like whenever, you know, you just I think for so many years, Shelly, you've always given so much to everyone else. And it's awesome that you are, you know, making that a priority, and then it makes you more productive. So it's awesome. I'm
on a journey of self. Yeah.
As women, we need to make sure that, well, not only do we celebrate each other, but we also need to like make sure that we are on that journey of self, and not because I think sometimes, sorry guys, you're very awesome too, but like so many times as women, like we're always taking care of the kids, or we're doing this, or we're doing this, or we're doing this. And, you know, that's not always very healthy. But for me, I have since March, I've struggled with eating a little bit more because the more time I have, the more hungry I get for some reason. I don't know. But I have really a couple years ago embraced the kind of whole eating. And so I try to eat more whole foods. And then that way I have rheumatoid arthritis and autoimmune disease. And so when I eat processed food, when I eat things that are not necessarily super healthy, then I don't feel good. And I found for me, at the energy that I want to be at school, especially, I need my energy. And the only way I can do that besides coffee is like eating well. And so I also I do movement. I'm not really, I wish I could tell you I like to run. I appreciate it. Like I see all the run lap and the people, I'm like, maybe, you know, Dave puts all those nice pictures up in Hawaii. I'm like, maybe if I like all these people are doing it, maybe if I try it again tomorrow, I'll like it. And I don't. So I'll get on the treadmill. I'll take a walk. I'm blessed to live in the middle of 300 acres. And so you'll see my pictures. That was something I did during quarantine to stay positive because I kind of got dark during that time. I wasn't fine. I didn't know when it was going to be over. So I would go find something pretty on the farm to celebrate being home. So those are a few things that I do. I think sleep. I'm also trying to normalize sleep. I was a person that thought I could sleep for 4 hours and be fine. And actually some study, I think Jay Billy, who I saw was in the house too, told me like when like lack of sleep is almost having a similar effect of alcohol on your system. And so like when you are only working on a few hours of sleep, it's kind of like that. And speaking of alcohol, I do enjoy a glass of wine. That is one of my wellness techniques as well that Shelly will share that love of.
So we do share that for sure.
A glass of red wine is good for you. So I don't know if 2 has the same, like the goodness there, but I think those are a few things. And just like, for me, it's really not being so you have to do this every single day. When I did that to myself, the fads or the like, you have like, I would not do so well with that. Having an accountability partner is huge. And Erica, I've referenced her again. She's an amazing assistant principal, and she and I have become very dear friends. But we are accountability partners for each other and hold each other accountable and lift each other up and celebrate each other. And I think that's been a good thing. Also, the principals, we call us the girl bosses in our district. There's 6 women leaders in our buildings, and so we have a Voxer group that we go to as well to help keep each other going, and they help support me as well. So just a few more things there.
I love it. And I love all the tips. And I see a lot of people over in the comments, taking some of these, a lot of sleep talk too. I am so bad. I measure my sleep with my iWatch, and I'm always disappointed when it's red and yellow, and it's never green, but I'm getting there. I'm going to get there one day soon. I feel it. I go to bed at 9 o'clock, but for some reason I don't get sufficient sleep like throughout the night. And sometimes I just lay there because I'm like, I should be sleeping. And
At least you're resting. The resting is okay. Resting's good. At least
give my body some time to recoup there. But I think all of these tips are just so important for us right now. And they're important for us when things go back to quote unquote normal too. I think for too long, as Shelly was talking about earlier, educators have, and women especially, I mean, men too, but women, I know you just give. You're always taking care of your children, your students, and all these things. And you just get pushed back. So I'm hoping that you will take some of these Lead Lab tips and become the better leader that you are capable of becoming by setting some boundaries. If it is the emails, turning the emails off at a certain time and communicating that very clearly, like Shelly said, making sure they know this. And also some of these wellness tips. Just maybe you don't want to do a streak. That's too frustrating when you get off. So don't plan a streak. Just plan to walk at some point and drink water and try to eat a little bit better.
And wine.
And wine. Water and wine will take care of everything.
Water is a game changer. It really flushes that cortisol too, and that's that stress. So water is huge, and that's one thing that I tend to do the sparkling. I like the sparkling because it gives me a little flavor too. But as much water, which happens to be in wine as well. So like if you're at the end of the day you're a little low and you have that wine, it does add in. But
one of the things I heard the other day from one of my coaches, he was talking about your car and how you wouldn't put sugar water in your gas tank. And so not that he was trying to make us not drink sugar, but he was saying whatever you put inside your body, whatever you put inside your tank is what's going to fuel your body to do all the wonderful things it can do. And when he's talking about our workouts, he's like, you need protein. Like, we don't not eat protein. Like, this is not how it works with those type of workouts. But whatever that is that makes you feel better, like Beth was talking about earlier, put that in your body so you can actually use it later. Just like you wouldn't put, lemonade in your car tank. No, you're going to put the best gasoline that you have so you can get around. So I think sometimes he was like, I'm appalled at how people take better care of their cars than their own bodies. And I think it's so true. I mean, sometimes that kind of hit home with me. I was like, ooh.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us. If you guys have any last words, Shelly and Beth, I would love for you to share your contact information too, so people can follow you and be inspired by the work that you guys are constantly putting out. Talk a little bit about the Lead Lab chat. If you're not involved in that, you should totally get involved on Saturday morning. And tell us a little bit about where they can find you. And remember, you have just about a minute and a half more to get some comments over in the comment section. Unless you're watching this on the playback, you have plenty of time until tomorrow morning.
Yeah. So you can find us at a variety of places. We have a website that we work on together, leadlikeapirate.net. You can check. We have lots of resources. We blog. We share a variety of things there. You can find me on Twitter. I have other social media accounts, but primarily the one I use is Twitter. It's at Burgess_Shelly, and it's Shelly SHELLEY. And as Tara was saying, we do run a Lead Lab chat every Saturday morning on Twitter at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. And we're blessed to be doing that now with two of our amazing colleagues. And I know I've seen Tracy in here, but Tracy Browder and Dawn Harris, who now really co-facilitate the Lead Lab chat. And they've just helped us take it to just a whole new level. So we hope that you join us for that conversation. But those are a couple of places you can find us. And Beth, you want to share a few more?
Definitely. And I just saw Dawn's name.
I saw Dawn pop up too.
It's been awesome. We have been devoted on Lead Lab to really looking at anti-racism work in our schools. And we have stayed with that topic thanks to the amazing Tracy and Dawn for all of their help since the end of May. And it's been great. The group of folks that group of folks that have been with us the whole time. There's people that join in, and it's so nice to have that Grit Crew EDU to help us as we're trying to definitely stay focused on how we can do better work in our schools. I am Keep It Easy on Beth Houf at Beth Houf on Twitter. Not Keep It Easy. That would not be a good Twitter.
Keep it easy, Beth Houf.
Not type that in and do not. Yes, at Beth Houf. I like to keep it simple for my name on there. Okay. And then that's probably the best way to get a hold of me. And then, like Shelly said, we have our website and blog on there as well. Shelly and I both, we tend to blog when we get fired up about something or when we get passionate about something. So you'll definitely see us when we
we wish we could say we have like a every Friday you'll get one, or we've tried that. Yeah, it really is when we get fired up and inspired. Yeah.
Those are always the best ones anyway. And Beth, you also have the hashtag FMS Proud, right?
Yeah. We have FMS Teach is our school, and then FMS Fulton Proud is our community. But FMS Teach, you can see all the things that we're doing in our school. Like I love being able to see that our teachers, like again, what educators are doing right now to keep kids engaged and to keep the learning. I mean, my kind of last thing, Tracy, don't you use that nickname. I see that.
It's going to show up in the group chat.
I'm like, I'm making a meme or something with it right now. So, but my last soapbox before we leave is like, the learning loss conversation needs to stop. Like we need to quit using the word learning loss. Our kids have grown in so many ways that we can't measure. Our teachers, oh my gosh, we've created a whole new way of doing school for the most part. So like to say that there's all this learning loss and address the learning loss, no. Like let's take care of our kids. Let's praise them for their amazing efforts and our teachers as well. So sorry, that's like the things I blog about, just the random Beth rants that I go on at times.
It's always inspiring. FMS Teach is one of my favorite hashtags. I have it up on my tweet deck almost always, just because I love seeing what the kids are doing. Now you guys are back in session with face to face. That's so fun. But I'm big fan. I've been out there too, so I love the kids, of course. But their teachers are always putting out some great stuff. Beth truly leads like a pirate and models that with her students, and those teachers adopt that principle as well. So yes, thank you so much, ladies, for inspiring us tonight. It looks like everybody's leaving really happy and full and excited about putting some boundaries in their life to take care of themselves so they can take care of others. So again, we love you coming on Thursday night to our PD in your PJs, PD anywhere. And remember, we'll leave those comments open until tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. You can find the playback of this video on YouTube or on Facebook. And we'll see you next week, same place, same time, different guests. So thanks, Beth and Shelly, for joining us today.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, everyone, for being here.
Thank you, crew.